Hello friends, so today's video is going to be my May TBR. Apologies for the somewhat abrupt announcement, but I just wanted to say really quick that in my March wrap-up, I asked all of you if you thought I should continue on with Codex Alera and Caraval, because both of these I enjoyed, but I was kind of on the fence about. I didn't absolutely love them, and the overwhelming answer for both of these was yes, to continue on. So I don't want to wait too long before I dive back into these, so I am going to try to pick up Codex Alera again, and then Caraval if I can. I'll try to fit that one in too. And then also a big thank you to GlassesUSA.com for working with me on today's video, so a quick word about them. This pair of glasses would be my Ray-Bans. That's one of the great things about Glasses USA is that they have in-house brands and a lot of name brands, and they're all at a discounted price. You can virtually try on glasses from the comfort of your own home. They deliver directly to your home. You can also upload your prescription, or if you don't know your prescription, you can use their app to scan your glasses and it will actually figure out your prescription for you. You can get blue light blocking lenses, so you don't even need prescription glasses from them. You can just get something to help your eyes if you work with screens a lot. They have sunglasses, they have prescription sunglasses, they just have so many different options and so many different styles. So while I have this pair of Ray-Bans, I often am wearing this other pair that is clear because they are just the ultimate neutral is what I always say. I absolutely love this pair. Ugh, I love this pair so much. And this one is nice because where the gold pair is that classic circle frame, this one has a little bit more of a square frame. And then like I was saying, they also have prescription or non-prescription sunglasses. I have loved this pair for so long, and they also have this pair with a white top that I think is really cool. And of course, my favorite thing is that I don't have to talk to anyone to get my glasses, and of course they're more affordable, so that makes it really helpful too. If you're interested in checking out GlassesUSA.com, I will have them linked, and I'll have these specific pairs of glasses linked. I'm just going to jump right into it and start with some of my upcoming anticipated releases that are going to be coming out, the first being the Stardust Thief. The synopsis I'm going to read from Goodreads. It says that our main character is a midnight merchant, a criminal who, with the help of her djinn bodyguard, hunts and sells illegal magic. When she saves the life of a cowardly prince, she draws the attention of his powerful father, the Sultan, who blackmails her into finding an ancient lamp that has the power to revive the barren land at the cost of sacrificing all jinn. It says it's inspired by 1001 Nights, and that is a gripping tale of a legendary smuggler, a cowardly prince, and a dangerous quest across the desert to find a legendary magical lamp. So I'm so excited for that release. I'm also really excited for the new release, Elektra. This is one that, similar to the book that the author wrote before this, Ariadne, is following figures from mythology, but just like with Ariadne, we're following characters that you typically don't see as the main focus. And I read Ariadne after it was a Goodreads nominee, and I, one, almost DNF'd it, and two, throughout reading it, I found myself so annoyed and frustrated with the characters, which typically, because I am a very character-driven reader, when that happens, I tend to not enjoy the book overall. But what I appreciated is I feel like the author was taking, in the case of Ariadne, this known story, this known mythology, and then was just showing it from a perspective that you wouldn't typically expect, and wasn't really trying to change all that much. She was more just trying to show the story from that character's eyes and not really trying to transform this character into someone completely different and unrecognizable. And while I found it frustrating, I also really respected that decision, and I thought the writing itself was at times incredibly moving and beautiful. So I'm really excited to see the characters in Elektra, and I'm excited just in general to be back with this author's writing. Like a lot of other people, I'm also very interested in The Book of Night by Holly Black. This is one that I have seen some of the comparisons to Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo, and Ninth House actually wasn't one that I ended up being a huge fan of, so I'm quite intrigued, and I'm wondering if this is going to be one that is a little bit of a miss for me. However, in having read a little bit of her writing in the past, I do think that her stories, I almost feel like she's holding back. Like she knows she can go darker, she knows she can go grittier, she knows she can dig deeper. And so for that reason, I am very excited to see more about The Book of Night. I don't know a whole lot about it. I have looked through the synopsis before, and it sounds intriguing enough, but I don't want to go in knowing too much. I'm not really going to look at anybody else's reviews initially. I'm just gonna go into it just having the synopsis and then see what we get. If I can, for the new releases, I'd like to also try to get around to Juniper and Thorn. So this is written by the same author who wrote The Wolf and the Woodsman, but it's very much rooted in various different people's folklore, and it's sort of combining a lot of different stories together, or at least the significance of stories to different peoples. Juniper and Thorn, if I'm understanding correctly, takes place in the same world, but follows different characters. I believe you don't have to have read the other one first in order to jump into this one. And a little bit, The Wolf and the Woodsman reminded me of some of Naomi Novik's takes of folklore, of fairy tales, because she's sort of combining real history with magic. And I felt that that's what The Wolf and the Woodsman was doing as well. It was also very atmospheric. At times it was even kind of spooky. And so I'm wondering if Juniper and Thorn, like, I think with Naomi Novik, I didn't really care for Uprooted, but then I loved Spinning Silver. So I'm curious to see between The Wolf and the Woodsman and Juniper and Thorn, it's going to be one of those situations where they're very similar, or perhaps they're going to be completely different stories. Maybe the tone's going to be very different, the characters will be very different, but I don't know. We'll have to find out. After that, we have 2 standalones by Joe Abercrombie. If I can, I would like to get to both of these. I had really wanted to get around to these forever ago, but grimdark was just not the thing that I really wanted to be reading. Last year, not to go like too in depth or anything, but in 2020, it was difficult for a lot of people. Many of you know it was especially difficult for me. Not trying to like claim 2020 as like it was the hardest for me or anything, because that's not even what I'm saying. But my father passed away, and then I also had to have emergency surgery, and it was just one thing after the next. So last year was kind of one of those I need to grieve sort of years. I need to get back on my feet. I need to find my new normal. I feel like everybody's having to find a new normal, but I was trying to find this new normal without one of my favorite people. And grimdark was not the thing that I wanted to get to, but I am feeling much better mentally, emotionally. So I feel like now is the time to jump back into this very cynical and bloody world. Another one that I want to pick up would be Son of the Storm. So this was a new release that I had been wanting to get around to and just didn't get the chance. And I'm hoping that May of 2022 is when I will get the chance. I've heard kind of mixed things about this one, but I ultimately still think it sounds really interesting. And my friend Deshauna, who has her own channel, I'll have her link down below. We often don't have the exact same taste. In fact, we basically never do. But just hearing her talk about this, I think at the very least I will enjoy it, even if it's not a new favorite, but I have high hopes for this one. I think it sounds really interesting. Switching gears, I'm also hoping to pick up some nonfiction, and specifically some of my friends here on BookTube, Jess and Angela, are going to be buddy reading some nonfiction books that are centered around Eastern Europe. Because of everything that's been going on, they thought it would be a good idea to try and better educate themselves on that part of the world. And so the books that they have mentioned, I'll have their video linked where you can see their announcement. They have 3 different books mentioned. One would be Red Famine, one would be The Gates of Europe, and the last would be Road to Unfreedom. If I can, I would like to read all 3 of those books. I actually mentioned this buddy read to some family members of mine, and now they're interested in reading some of these as well. Speaking of buddy reads, last year my friend Jessie May and I were planning on doing a buddy read every month, and then if we could, we would try to do live shows for the books that we were buddy reading. And Jessie ended up having a baby in 2021. When we first made plans, Jessie wasn't sure how busy she was going to be. She didn't know. It was her first baby, and so she wasn't sure how much pregnancy and also having the baby were going to affect her schedule. And it did, as you would guess, affect her schedule quite a bit. So we kind of had to put the buddy reads on pause, but we are very excited to be bringing them back. So for May, we are going to be reading the 12 Kings of Sherakai. I messaged my friend Leanna from Leanna's Library, and she's going to be joining us for that buddy read as well. And if we can, we would like to do maybe like a patron live show or something like that for this particular one. And if we can, hopefully moving forward, we can try to continue doing at least one buddy read a month. Another book that Jessie has been meaning to pick up, that I have been meaning to pick up for a long time too, would be Blood Heir, so if we can, we'd both like to read this one too. That's it for some books that I'm hoping to get around to in the month of May. If you're interested in any of these, I will have purchase links in the description bar down below. A big thank you again to ClassesUSA.com for working with me on today's video. Thanks so much for watching. Let me know what you're planning on picking up in the month of May. I hope you have a lovely rest of your day, and I'll see you all later. Bye.